The rejection at the altar, the twin moons of Zelaria floated above the palace like silver coins. It was the day of the royal wedding. Banners of glowing silk moved with the wind. The grand courtyard was filled with aliens from different worlds, some with scales, some with fur, some shining like crystal. All had come to witness the union of two powerful houses. Princess Alara stood still in her tall golden dress. Her silver eyes showed no emotion, but her heart was beating fast. Today she was to marry Lord Threxen, heir to the Drakari Empire. The wedding was not for love. It was a political deal, one to keep peace between two old rivals. She had known this all her life. Still, somewhere deep inside, Alara had hoped that maybe, just maybe, Threxen would treat her with kindness. They had never met in person before today. Only messages, formal and cold. The music stopped. Silence fell. Threxen walked in, tall and proud, his dark armor shining. He looked at Alara with narrow eyes, then looked away. Alara stepped forward. She raised her hands as tradition required and spoke the ancient words of unity. Today I give myself to peace. May this bond end all wars. Threxen did not raise his hands. He laughed. A soft, cruel laugh. This is a joke, he said loudly, his voice echoing. This woman, weak, useless. She has no blood of warriors. She hides behind books and songs. Gasps filled the courtyard. Alara stood frozen. Her mouth was dry. Her fingers trembled. You insult the ceremony, the high priest said, shocked. End this ceremony, Threxen replied. The Drakari need no bride with soft hands and soft heart. We are conquerors, not poets. Alara's mother stepped forward, but guards held her back. Even the royal family could not break the rules now. The groom had spoken. Alara felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her. Hundreds of eyes were on her, some full of pity, some of amusement. Her people, her enemies, all saw her shame. Slowly, she turned to leave. Her long veil dragged behind her like chains. But before she could take another step, someone moved. From the far end of the courtyard, a man walked forward, not tall like Threxen, not covered in gold or jewels. He wore simple dark armor, human-made, scratched from battle. It was Captain Jace Rennick, a guest from Earth. He was not noble, not royal, just a soldier, invited as part of the human alliance. Wait, he said, voice steady. Everyone looked at him, confused, angry, curious. Threxen sneered. What is this? A human dares speak during royal rites? Jace kept walking until he stood beside Alara. He looked at her not with pity, but with something else. Something strong. Something real. You call her weak, Jace said. But I see someone who stood still while the galaxy laughed at her. Someone who spoke words of peace while you shouted like a child, the crowd murmured. Some aliens frowned. Others listened closely. Jace looked at the high priest. You said this union ends by the groom's rejection. But old law says another may step forward if his heart is true. The priest blinked. That law is forgotten, unused, but not broken, Jace said. Alara looked at him now, her voice soft. Why would you do this? Because strength is not loud, Jace said. And you were never weak. Threxen stepped down, rage in his eyes. This is madness. Jace faced him calmly. Then challenge me. Prove your strength. The alien crowd roared in approval. They love to fight. The priest nodded slowly. Ancient right accepted. The human has spoken. If he wins the trial of blades, he may claim what was cast aside. Alara looked between them. She had no say. It was law. But for the first time that day, her heart beat with something else. Hope. Threxen pointed a clawed finger at Jace. I will break you in front of them all. Jace smiled. Then stopped talking. As the two were led to the arena below, the guests stood in silence. Alara stayed behind, hands clasped, lips pressed tight. No one had ever fought for her before. No one had ever seen her worth. And now, one human warrior had changed everything. The warrior's choice. The sky above the Zilarian palace turned dark as storm clouds rolled in, not from weather but from warships. High above, alien vessels hovered like vultures, waiting, watching. Deep below, in the heart of the palace arena, Captain Jace Rennick stood on scorched red stone, facing a beast twice his size. Lord Threxen had removed his ceremonial cloak. Now, he wore pure Drakari battle armor, black and edged in bone, each plate carved with marks of past kills. His eyes burned with fury, not just at being challenged by a human, but because the laws of his world now bound him to accept it. "Do you know what you've done, human?" Threxen growled, voice thick with rage. "You've insulted a bloodline that conquered 5 galaxies." Jace didn't answer. His eyes were not on Threxen. They were on Elira. She stood behind the golden gates, guarded and silent, her face unreadable, but Jace saw her hands clenched, trembling. "Open the circle," the high priest called, raising his staff. The ground shook as glowing lines formed a ring around the fighters, an ancient trial arena. No one could leave it once the duel began, not until one yielded or died. A hush fell over the crowd. Noble aliens, high generals, and intergalactic ambassadors watched in silence. Some were amused, others angry, and some, a rare few, were curious. Jace had no royal blood, no special weapons, just a carbon blade at his side and a war-worn body trained in forgotten human ways. "Trial of blades," the priest announced. "Strength, skill, heart. Winner takes the right of bond. Fight." With a roar, Threxen charged. His blade was thick, jagged, made to crush, not cut. Jace dodged the first swing by inches, the force of it shaking the air. Dust flew as the blade smashed into the stone where Jace had stood a moment before. He moved fast, lower to the ground, light on his feet. The human way was not about size. It was about timing. He slashed back, cutting across Threxen's side. Sparks flew. But the armor held. "You fight like an insect," Threxen hissed. "You talk like one," Jace shot back. Another swing, this one grazed his shoulder, tearing fabric, drawing blood. He didn't cry out. Elira watched from the gate, her heart pounding. She didn't know why this man had done what he did. He owed her nothing, yet here he was, bleeding for her in front of 1,000 enemies. Her people had taught her to hide pain. But now, something inside her broke free. Something that had been silent too long. "Move, human," she whispered. Her voice caught in her throat. Down in the arena, Jace was slowing. The wound on his shoulder burned. Threxen laughed, pressing his advantage. "Fall. Beg. Maybe then I'll let you live." Jace wiped blood from his mouth. "You talk too much." He dropped to one knee, not in surrender, but to gather his breath. Then he threw something, a flash grenade. Human tech. Banned in most alien duels, but not against the rules here. Light burst like a small sun. Threxen screamed, blinded. Jace moved in, fast, striking between the plates of armor under the arm. The Drakari Lord howled, stumbling back. Jace didn't stop. Blade to the knee. Threxen fell. Blade to the chest, not deep but enough. Jace stood over him, blade at the throat. "Yield," he said. Threxen spat. Jace raised the blade higher. "Yield." The word echoed. And finally, the great warrior of the Drakari said the one word he had never said before. "I yield." The ring of fire vanished. The duel was over. The crowd erupted, not in cheers but in shock. A human had beaten a Drakari. Air, not by power but by courage, by mind, by will. The high priest looked shaken. "The right of bond is granted. By ancient law, the princess may be claimed." Jace turned. Elira stepped forward slowly. She had not moved this way before. Not as a daughter of a throne, but as someone stepping into her own story. "You have won," she said, voice calm but heavy. "And now you may take what you fought for." "I didn't fight for a prize," Jace said. "I fought because what they threw away was worth standing for." She looked at him for a long time, Not with duty, not with fear, but with a question. What happens now? Before she could ask it out loud, an alarm blared. Red lights flared across the sky. A voice echoed through the palace. Unauthorized fleet, entering orbit. Royal escape protocol activated. Jace turned his head. They're coming for us. Elira blinked. Who? Jace's hand went to his blade again. Your people. Maybe mine too. And just like that, the victory was gone. Now, they were both targets. Blood in the sand, the night sky of Zelaria burned red. Warships covered the stars. Alarms rang through the palace walls like a warning bell from an ancient god. Guards rushed in every direction, confused and scared. Captain Jace Rennick didn't flinch. He stood beside Princess Elira, blood drying on his arm, his blade still in hand. You need to leave, he told her, voice steady. They'll never let me go. She whispered, I am now stolen property in their eyes. Jace looked at her. You're not property, not anymore, and they can't take what's already been claimed. A squad of royal guards blocked the exit to the arena. Step away from the princess. Their commander shouted. By royal order. Elira's face was cold now, regal again but different. No longer the silent girl at the altar. By what law? She called out. He won the ancient trial. By your own tradition, you must honor it. The guards hesitated. Then another voice echoed, deeper and crueler. It came from above. Tradition dies when it becomes inconvenient. Lord Veltrax, Threxen's father, descended in his hover chair, surrounded by elite enforcers, his eyes locked on Jace. You made a mockery of our bloodline, human. You should have died in the circle. Try again, Jace said, blade raised. Oh, we will. Veltrax smiled. But not here. Not quickly. Take them. Everything moved. At once, blasters fired. Jace pulled Elira behind cover as stone pillars shattered around them. One shot skimmed his leg. He winced, but kept moving. Elira grabbed a dropped plasma knife from the floor. She wasn't a fighter. Not yet. But she wouldn't stand helpless. Together, they ran through the maze of the royal gardens. Guards followed, shouting, firing. Above them, ships began to land. Where are we going? She asked. My ship, Jace said. But we'll have to earn it. They reached a dark tunnel hidden behind a waterfall, an old escape route he had mapped earlier during security checks. You were planning this? She asked, breathless. I plan everything, even the unexpected. The tunnel opened into the lower city, but the welcome was worse. Crowds screamed as mercenaries, bounty hunters, and rogue soldiers arrived from above. Someone had put out a call. Royal target spotted. Reward, 100,000 credits, dead or alive. The word was out, and the galaxy smelled blood. Jace and Elira moved fast, hiding in shadows, slipping through ruins and alleyways. Why are they chasing me? Elira asked. Why kill me now, after everything? Because you're dangerous, Jace said. Not because of who you were, but who you might become. I don't understand. You're the symbol they're afraid of. The royal who chose peace. The princess who stood next to a human. Your kind fears change, and change starts with someone like you. A squad of bounty hunters cornered them near an old statue. No more running. Jace stood in front of her. They came with plasma spears and net cannons. Stay behind me, he said. But this time, Elira stepped beside him. No, she said. This time I fight too. They battled together, awkward at first, but then smoother. Jace struck hard and fast. Elira distracted, blocked, stabbed. The fight was bloody, brutal, and loud. One hunter grabbed Elira, slamming her to the ground. Jace roared, his blade slicing through armor and flesh. The hunter dropped. Jace dropped to his knees beside her, breathing hard. You hurt? He asked. Yes, she smiled weakly. But not dead. That's an improvement. Suddenly, a deep horn blew across the sky. Then silence. The hunters pulled back. The guards vanished. Even the mercenaries stopped chasing. From the far end of the square, a new ship landed. sleek, black, marked with a red human flag. Jace Rennick, a voice called from inside. He froze. He knew that voice. Captain Alara, Voss, commander of Earth Alliance Fleet, the voice continued. Under Article 7 of the Zalarian Human Pact, we are here to extract you, and the target. Target? Jace asked. The princess. She's now considered a diplomatic threat. Orders are to bring her in. Jace turned to Alara. You coming with me means safety, he said, but not freedom. They'll keep you in a cage made of gold. And if I don't go? They'll hunt you. Until you disappear forever. She looked at him, blood on her face, dust in her hair. What will you do? He didn't answer right away. Then he stood tall. Whatever you choose, I'll stand by it. She looked at the ship, then at the sky, then at him. Then we run. Fugitives of the stars blurred into streaks of white as the stolen ship jumped into hyperspace. Elira stood near the wide window, staring at the lights. As they stretched and bent, she had never run before. Not like this. Not from her people. Not from duty. Not from everything she had ever known. Behind her, Jace Rennick worked at the ship's controls, fingers moving fast. Alarms beeped in strange rhythms. Damage reports, fuel warnings, system errors. We're not safe yet, he said. They'll track our jump. We bought time, not freedom. Elira turned. So where are we going? Jace hesitated. To a place where no royal steps willingly. A human moon, Outpost 17. Abandoned, forgotten, dangerous. Elira crossed her arms. Sounds perfect. The moon floated in dead space. Gray, cold, lifeless. As they landed, a thick cloud of dust rose. The old hangar doors groaned open like the last breath of a sleeping giant. Inside was darkness. Old machinery. Rusted beams. Walls painted with faded human flags. We used this, placed during the First Galactic War, Jace explained. Before the peace treaties. It was a base, a lab, maybe even a prison. You brought me to a graveyard, Elira said. No, he answered. I brought you to a place where ghosts don't follow. Inside the outpost, power flickered back on. Lights hummed weakly. The air was cold, but clean. Jace led her to a secure room, once a commander's office. He dropped a bag on the desk. Medical, supplies, rations, ammo. We stay low for a few days, let things calm down. After that, we find help. Elira sat slowly. Her body still ached from the escape. Her heart even more so. Jace, she said quietly, I don't know who I am anymore. He looked at her for a long moment. That's good. Good? She frowned. It means you're ready to become someone real. Hours passed. Jace cleaned his wounds in silence. Elira watched him from across the room. The strong human warrior, cold, calm, but carrying pain behind the eyes. Why did you save me? She asked again. Because someone had to, he replied. But you didn't know me. I didn't have to. I saw what they did, how they used you, how they threw you away like you were nothing. And I've seen that before. Too many times. Earth, everywhere. A pause. Then Jace said something that surprised even himself. I used to believe in orders, in flags, in missions. But then I watched good people die so politicians could feel powerful. I promised myself, next time, I'd fight for someone. Not something. Elira whispered. And that someone was me? Yes. The next morning, Jace ran scans from the outpost's old computers. The results came back in red. They found us, he said. Elira stood. How? They sent a hunter, not a ship. A person. He turned the screen. A face appeared. Female, cybernetic, eyes glowing red. That's not just any bounty hunter, he said. That's Lynna Cross, half machine. She works for both sides and she never misses. Elira stared. So what do? We don't run, not this time. Night came. The sky outside turned black and still. The outpost lights flickered like nervous candles, then silence, then footsteps. Slow, metallic, echoing through the empty halls. Jace grabbed his blade, his pistol, and handed a plasma gun to Elira. "You sure you're ready?" he asked. "I'm done being ready," she said. "I'm just done running." They moved through the halls side by side. A sudden crash, a wall exploded inward. Lena Cross stood in the rubble. Tall, armored, face half human, half machine. "I don't care about politics," she said. "I just want the target." Elira raised her weapon. "Come and take me." Lena smiled. "With pleasure." The fight was fast, brutal, dirty. Jace moved in close, blades against metal. Elira stayed behind cover, firing, her aim shaky, but her heart strong. Lena threw Jace against a wall, his ribs cracked. She grabbed Elira by the throat, lifting her off the ground. "You're not special," Lena growled. "Just another name on a list?" Elira coughed, struggling, her vision blurred. Then a shot, clean, sharp, direct. Lena's head jerked. Jace, bleeding, had fired the old commander's pistol, a relic. One shot left. Lena dropped. Elira fell into his arms. The hunter twitched, sparked, then went still. They lay on the cold floor, breathing hard. "You okay?" Jace asked. Elira nodded slowly. I think I just survived my first real battle." "Good," he whispered. "You're gonna need that strength." She looked at him. "Why?" Jace's face turned serious. "Because this wasn't random. They're not just chasing you. They're afraid of what you might do next." "And what's that?" "Start a war," he said, "or end one." The heart of the warrior deep. In the shadows of Outpost 17, Captain Jace Rennick sat in silence, his back pressed against a cold steel wall. Blood soaked through his shirt, seeping from the cracks in his ribs. He had not slept in nearly 30 hours. Across the room, Princess Elira cleaned the old pistol he had used to kill Lena Cross, the hunter they never thought they could defeat. The weapon trembled slightly in her hands, not from fear, but from what she was becoming. She was no longer a royal bride waiting for orders. She was a survivor. The comm system crackled to life. A broken signal, scattered words. "Royal fleet, closing in, wanted alive. Princess is marked as a traitor." Jace turned it off. "They'll be here within a day," he said. Elira nodded. "Then we leave." "We can't," he replied. "Fuel. Core's cracked. Engine's dead. We're stuck here unless we find parts." "And where do we find parts on a dead moon?" He stood slowly, wincing from the pain. "The lower levels. The old labs. But they're not safe." "Monsters?" she asked. "Worse," Jace said. "Memories." They descended into darkness. Broken signs glowed faintly. Human writing. Half-burnt. Test Chamber 9. Restricted. The air was heavy, filled with the scent of rust and something else. Something old. What was this place really? Elira asked. Jace hesitated. A lab, a weapons site, and a prison for the first human traitors, those who betrayed Earth to save themselves. "And now we walk their halls." "Yeah," he said, "but we're not them." They moved through old metal corridors, walls marked with scratches, doors sealed by codes long forgotten, then a room full of pods, some shattered, some still humming. Inside one, a body twitched. Elira stepped back. "What is that?" "A failed super soldier project," Jace muttered. "Human DNA mixed with alien tech. Never worked. Most went insane. And the ones that didn't? We killed them before they turned." Suddenly, a pod hissed open. A creature, half man, half machine, lunged. Jace fired. Once. Twice. It kept coming. Elira aimed and shot its leg. It fell, screeching, metal bones grinding. They ran. Down the corridor, through a broken gate. Finally, an old fuel core room. "We'll take what we can carry," Jace said, panting. But behind them, the screeching returned. Not one, not two, a dozen of them. The forgotten failures. "Go!" Jace shouted. "I'll hold them off." "No!" Elira grabbed his arm. "We fight together. You don't understand. If they kill me, fine. But not you. You still have a chance." "A chance for what?" she snapped. "I was a prisoner in Silk. Now I have scars, now I have a voice, and I'm not leaving the only person who saw me before I saw myself." His eyes softened. Then he handed her a small device. "Hit this. It'll overload the core, burn the entire lower floor. And you?" He smiled weakly. "I've got a fast trigger." The fight was brutal. They shot, stabbed, kicked. Blood and oil mixed on the floor. Elira screamed in pain as claws tore her arm. Jace dragged her behind a barrier, firing non-stop. He was slowing, his vision blurred, but he kept shooting. He always did. "Now!" he yelled. She hit the switch. Flames burst. The floor cracked. Creatures howled as fire swallowed them. Jace grabbed her and jumped just in time. Up the shaft, back into the main outpost. The lower labs collapsed behind them. Silence returned, except for the sound of their breathing. Hours passed. Jace lay in a medical bed, barely conscious. Elira sat beside him, her arm bandaged, her eyes red. She watched him sleep. But something else burned in her mind now. Clarity, purpose. She looked at the old maps on the wall. Star routes, abandoned worlds, secret rebel hideouts. Then, she opened the old outpost terminal, typed a message, a call to outcasts, to rebels, to anyone who had ever been silenced. "This is Elira of House Vel-Orion. No longer princess, no longer owned. I fight now, for freedom. Not just mine, but yours. If you've ever been thrown away, join me." They thought I was weak, but they forgot. Humans taught me how to fight back. She sent the signal, and across the galaxy, something stirred. Rise of the rebel queen dust hung in the air above Outpost 17. Princess Elira, now simply Elira, stood at the edge of the shore landing deck, not in silk robes, not wearing a crown. She wore scavenged armor and a plasma pistol at her hip. Her message, broadcast across the stars, had traveled faster than they expected, and now ships were arriving, small at first, broken, rusty vessels, then larger ones, old warships painted with rebel colors, pirate marks, or no flag at all. The Forgotten were answering her call. Inside the command room, Jace watched the ships land through cracked windows. His ribs were healing, but slowly. His body ached, but his mind was focused. He saw what she had done, what she was becoming. "They're not here for me," he said. Elira entered, helmet under her arm. "No, they're not. But you started this." "I lit a match," he said. "You became the fire." She didn't smile. She rarely did anymore. Not since Lina. Not since the fire. Not since she pulled a knife from her own arm just to keep going. But in her silence, there was strength. The first meeting was chaotic. Leaders of outlaw bands, smugglers, escaped slaves, human deserters, exiled alien scholars. They shouted. They insulted each other. They blamed Elira for her royal blood. "You're one of them," a crusted old soldier said. "You sat on a throne while we rotted in mines." "Yes," she answered calmly. "And they threw me away the moment I stopped being useful. Now I fight to end the throne." A silence followed. She stood, shoulders square, eyes clear. "I don't need you to trust me," she said. "But you saw the Empire burn towns, kill children, wipe out colonies to keep order. You know what they'll do next, and I know how they think. I was raised in their cage. I know the locks. I can help break them." They listened, and slowly they nodded. Outside, Jace trained the recruits. He moved with slow precision, showing humans and aliens alike how to shoot, fight, survive. "Your enemy is bigger," he told them. "Richer, smarter. But we've got something they don't." "What's that?" someone asked. He smiled. Nothing left to lose. One night, as the rebel base buzzed with planning, Elira sat beside Jace in the armory. They said nothing for a while. Then she spoke. Do you ever think about how it ends? He looked at her. You mean death? No, she said. After, if we win, what happens to people like us? He thought for a moment. We disappear, he said. Warriors are needed in war, but peace. Peace doesn't know what to do with us. She nodded slowly. Maybe we just become stories. He looked at her. You'd make a good one. She looked back. So would you. 2 days later, an Empire cruiser appeared at the edge of the system. Elira's face appeared on their open comm channel. Surrender, the Empire officer said. Return the traitor, or be destroyed. Elira leaned forward. You already destroyed me. All that's left now is my revenge. And she cut the signal. The battle began. Space lit up with fire. Rebels scrambled into ships. Elira flew beside. Jason, an old fighter, patched together with stolen parts. Their fleet was outgunned, outnumbered, but not outmatched. Elira led the charge, fast, sharp, reckless. Her mind danced between strategy and instinct. Strike the engines, she ordered. Blind their eyes. Jace's voice came through the comm. Watch your flank. Always, she answered. Plasma fire lit the sky. One rebel ship exploded. Her old guard commander inside. Elira didn't blink. Loss was the price now. Inside the enemy cruiser, an assassin had been sent. Quiet. Fast. Hidden. He slipped through the outpost undetected, headed for the command chamber. But Elira had expected him. He found her waiting. The fight was short, brutal, quiet, and in the end, she stood above him, blade in hand, blood on the floor. I was never your prey, she whispered. The Empire ship jumped away, damaged, scared. The rebels cheered, but Elira didn't smile. Instead, she stood on the upper deck, looking at the stars, and behind her they began to chant, not her title, not her name, but something new. Queen of Ash, Queen of Fire, Queen of the Broken. She didn't ask for it. She didn't want it. But now, she had to become it, because war wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Love, war, and a new world. The stars above were no longer silent. They burned. War had begun. Across 100 systems, rebellions rose like storms. The signal sent by Elira, now known as the Queen of Fire, had lit the galaxy. But fire brings both, light and destruction, and not all who followed her wanted the same future. At the edge of the Delta 9 system, a massive Imperial fortress floated in orbit. A ring world, half metal, half stone. This was the heart of the Drakari Empire, the place where her betrayal had started, and it was here that the final battle would be fought. Elira stood at the bridge of her warship. Not royal silk, not scavenged armor. This time, she wore a battlesuit of her own design, blending human technology with Xelarian tradition. Sharp lines, glowing veins of energy, light but unbreakable. Behind her stood hundreds, rebels, former slaves, outcasts, and beside her, always, was Jace, still scarred, still strong, still silent when the world got too loud. He stepped forward and placed a small device on the console. They're shields, he said. They rotate frequencies every 6 seconds. We need to hit just before the switch. Can we? She asked. Only once. Elira nodded. Once is enough. She looked over the fleet. Today we break the last chain, she said, but some of us will not return. Silence. So fight for more than revenge. Fight for the children still in cages, for the villages burned in silence, for the voices never heard. Her hand tightened on the control lever, for a world we'll never see. But they will. The attack began. Ships screamed through space. Fighter crafts weaved between turrets, dodging lasers and mines. Explosions lit the black sky with orange fire. Elira led the charge. Her ship cut through defenses fast as a blade through silk. Jace's voice came through the comm. You know they've called reinforcements. Let them. she replied. We finish this before they arrive. Deep inside the fortress, the command center was locked. Elira and Jace entered through a side corridor, guided by an old map once stolen from the royal library. Inside stood Veltrax, the same Drakari general who had once watched her be humiliated. At the altar, "You returned to die in the same room you were discarded in," he spat. "No," she said. "I came to end what you started." He raised a plasma lance. Jace raised his blade. The duel began. The fight was brutal. Veltrax was strong. His movements were trained and practiced, but Jace was wild, unpredictable, human. He fought not like a soldier but like a survivor. Veltrax slashed, burning through Jace's side. Jace stabbed back, drawing blood. They crashed into pillars. Fire spread, and when Veltrax raised his lance for a final strike, Elira fired one shot through the back. Veltrax fell to his knees, coughing blood. "You would kill your own kind?" he whispered. "You were never my kind," she said. He collapsed, dead. But Jace was on the floor, his side burned, blood pouring. Elira dropped beside him, pulling him close. "Stay with me," she said. "Always," he smiled. "Don't close your eyes." He touched her cheek. "You changed the galaxy," he whispered. "Don't stop now." "Not without you," she whispered back. Outside, the fortress exploded, not from enemy fire, but from within. A signal had been sent. A system reset. The Empire's mainframe was gone, collapsed, cut off. All across the galaxy, their control fell like ash in the wind. 3 weeks later, the galaxy was quiet. Ships no longer carried flags of war, but banners of peace. Elira stood at a new council table, not as a queen, not as a ruler, but as a voice among many. Beside her sat humans, Zellarians, and even former enemies. A new alliance had been born, built not on fear, but choice. And in the healing gardens of Earth, beneath the red-leafed trees, Jace walked again. Slowly, carefully. Elira joined him. No war suits, no weapons, just silence. "So," he said, looking at the sky. "What now?" She smiled, small and real. "We build," she said. "We teach. We protect." "And us?" he asked. She looked at him. "You claimed me once," she said. "Not as a prize, but as a person." "I remember." She took his hand. "This time, I choose you." They walked on, together. No titles, no thrones, just two warriors who had loved through fire. The end.